Canada is becoming completely unaffordable, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about it.
Life is becoming harder in Canada, and we pay a lot of taxes, and the cost of living is very high.
The system stopped supporting families. Housing became unaffordable. People are choosing between owning a home and having children.
Shit is literally so expensive right now. Groceries, insane.
You want to know how rough things are in Canada right now financially?
Why is everyone sick in Canada right now? Like across this entire country. I'm in Edmonton, I'm sick. My friends in Vancouver are sick. My friends in Toronto are sick.
Imagine having a stable life in Canada, a job, maybe even 2 incomes in your household, and still feeling like you can't move forward. Because today, for many families, life in Canada has become so expensive that people are being forced to make an unthinkable choice: housing or having children. Childcare doesn't feel like an expense anymore. It feels like a second mortgage. Rent keeps rising. Groceries keep getting expensive. And 2 incomes? That's no longer enough to get ahead. It's just enough to survive. And because of this, more and more people are delaying kids or deciding not to have them at all. Not because they don't want to, but because they feel like they can't afford to. So what's really happening here? Why has life become this unaffordable? And what does this mean for the future of Canada? Stay with me, because this is something everyone needs to understand. And if you want real, no-filter insights like this, make sure you subscribe now, because what's coming next might surprise you.
Why is everyone sick in Canada right now? Like across this entire country. I'm in Edmonton, I'm sick. My friends in Vancouver are sick. My friends in Toronto are sick. Everyone is sick. Everyone has a cough that's lasted them a couple of months. Like, what is happening? How is one bug able to span across an entire country as big as Canada? What is happening?
Canada is becoming completely unaffordable, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. So many people don't even have savings. Rent is insane, groceries keep going up, and healthcare might be free, but accessing it is nearly impossible. And somehow the narrative is still that people are just bad with money. What money? People are working full-time. A lot of people are even juggling 2 jobs now because they have to. At what point do we stop blaming the individual and start acknowledging that the cost of living has simply outpaced reality? And because everything is this expensive, you have to know exactly where your money's going. A budget is not optional anymore, it's necessary. I started using an app called Mine to track everything. It shows your spending, helps you catch subscriptions, and gives you a clearer picture of your finances. And even things like a TFSA or an RRSP, people talk about them like they're obvious, but a lot of people are just trying to keep up with the bills. They don't even care about that stuff. Living in Canada really feels more expensive than ever. So if you're struggling, you're not alone.
Hi, I'm Canadian, and guess how much money I spent on my groceries in the year 2025? For reference, we're a family of 3 with 2 adults and 1 child. Every month I budgeted a certain amount that I want to reach or stay under as a goal. Sometimes we reach that goal, which is fantastic, but other months things happen that I can't predict, and we do unfortunately go over my budget. For reference, in 2024, the average family of 4 spent $16,297.20 on groceries alone. Because I don't have a statistic of a family of 3, I had ChatGPT calculate the difference for me. It stated that an average of 2 adults and 1 child spent between $7,000 and $11,000 on groceries for the whole entire year. For more reference, I live in Nova Scotia in a very rural community, so groceries in this area are typically higher. The grand total we spent is $14,297.78. Ouch. Let me know if you want to know how much we spent on gas.
I have been trying to understand why mass immigration is happening all over our Western countries, because honestly, it didn't make sense to me as we watch all of these fallouts happen in so many areas. Cultural clashes is because it's rushed. It didn't make sense. We are told that it's because birth rates are falling and the workforce is shrinking, but people did not stop wanting children. That is not why birth rates fell. Birth rates fell because the system stopped supporting families. Housing became unaffordable. People are choosing between owning a home and having children. Childcare became impossible to manage. It's practically a second mortgage. 2 incomes became mandatory just to survive, and time with your kids became something you squeezed in between exhaustion. They want to blame it on a cultural failure, but it really seems more like they need to revisit their policies. Something else that's alarming is back in 2000, the United Nations published a document called Replacement Migration. It openly discusses using immigration to offset population decline and aging workforces. So I feel like this has always been the plan, and they didn't even hide it. Now we see them openly saying that migration helps balance population decline. What's missing from that conversation is the most important question. Why did populations decline in the first place? Instead of fixing affordability and stability and family formation, governments are choosing the fastest workaround, grow the population anyway. And now you have citizens feeling sidelined instead of supported, feeling like the system no longer works for them or for their children. What makes this even harder to ignore is while we have this narrative being pushed, governments are also telling us that we need more people to sustain the workforce at the exact same time that AI and automation are reducing the need for workers. Productivity keeps rising, jobs keep disappearing. So this isn't really about necessity. It's about priorities. Technology could have been used to give families more time, more stability, and more security. Instead, population growth is being used to prop up an economic model that no longer works for everyday people. I'm not blaming immigrants, but I am definitely asking why fixing families was never the priority. If the goal was a healthy and sustainable society, families would have been supported first. The fact that they are not tells you that families were never the priority.
The Bank of Canada raised its primary interest rate by a percentage point today. That is the largest single interest rate increase from the Bank of Canada in almost 25 years. Canada's inflation in June was 7.7% according to Statistics Canada, which is the highest in almost 40 years. What does that mean for you? Buckle up, because the hikes aren't stopping here. All the big banks have already announced that they are raising their prime interest rates. If you have a variable rate mortgage or a variable rate anything, you're going to hurt. Put this 1% rate hike into perspective. If you have a $500,000 variable mortgage over 5 years, this rate hike could end up causing you more than $16,000 additional dollars. And the hikes aren't done yet. Not even close. You must also remember that Canada has the 4th highest consumer debt in the world. 106% of our annual GDP in debt. Yeah. And for historical perspective, there has never been a major rate hike, a series of them, without a recession. But we're not going to have a recession. We're going to have a depression.
Good morning. So I woke up to check my socials, and the first video I see is, we're sending $37 million to Lebanon because their families over there are suffering, food insecurities, all. Have you looked at Canada? Have you looked at Canadians? In the tent cities, we have food insecurity. I can't afford groceries. Half of everything we make, it gets taxed so that they can send it to places like Lebanon. While we live in this country, this is a joke. This is absolutely a fucking joke. If I could leave Canada, I would. I absolutely, in a heartbeat. Everybody but the indoctrinated people in Canada knows that Canada is a joke. The only ones who don't think that are the Liberals. Because you guys made it this way and you're delusional. It's at this point. No, I won't even say. It's just everybody else has kind of gotten... we are all in agreement now. This is a shit show. This is no longer about politics, actually. It's so far gone. I just want to leave. Because this will never be fixed. Canada is going to be a third world country. It already is. This is a fucking joke. This is a fucking joke.
You know what else is very funny here in Canada?
When I say on this account that life is becoming harder in Canada and we pay a lot of taxes and the cost of living is very high and whatever, the work we do, the salary we get and the quality of life that comes with it is not what it used to be. And people are there telling me that, well, maybe you're asking for too much. Maybe you should work more and stuff like that. And I'm over here thinking how brainwashed can you be to think that way? How did we ever normalize working 40-something or more hours a week and while not being able to afford a nice life or some vacations or a nice car. So you're gonna tell me that you believe that us humans come on Earth to work fucking 50 years and more in our lives, to hate our job, and then to enjoy maybe a couple years of retirement where you're not feeling like shit. Yeah, that's our goal as humans. Yeah, totally makes sense to me. So yeah, I did choose to move to another country. First, because I met my husband, who's from Finland. And well, Finland is very similar to Canada in so many aspects. And we do enjoy a nicer weather. So we chose Sicily as a place to have like another house. And the cost of living is much more affordable. And we have sun and there's no ice, no snow. So we really enjoy that. And yeah, I feel like maybe Sicilians are not rich, but they understood something about life, and life is not about just work, and then maybe have a few days off to enjoy. Or maybe not, because maybe you don't have any money to enjoy anything, right? So yeah, I love Sicily so much.
You want to know how rough things are in Canada right now financially? I just saw a fight break out in a grocery store parking lot. A guy just got into a wrestling match trying to steal Wendy's French fries from a seagull.
Nobody prepares Canadians for the reality of working full-time and still struggling. We were all told that full-time jobs meant stability, but rent, groceries, and gas all exploded and our income all stayed the same. That's why so many Canadians are learning income streams online, because working hard doesn't always solve the problem anymore.
What's going on in Canada right now? Cost of living is outrageous and wages are the same, low. So how's anybody affording to live? And second question, how big is your garden going to be this year? Check it out. Pussy willows starting to come out. It's sunny here. We're going for a walk. She's got a cold. It's got me thinking about gardening. We're going to take some of these logs, do cheap and easy raised garden beds, because our soil is basically pure clay, and put a bunch of dirt in, and then basically just plant with wild abandon to try to grow as many fruits, vegetables, or whatever we'll grow here as we possibly can, because food is outrageously expensive. So if anybody else is doing raised garden beds, or if you garden with heavy clay soils, give me some tips, because we definitely need it. We like to eat.
I'm just so fed up with what's going on with Valley Village and all these other thrift stores in Canada. Like, the amount of money it costs now just to buy a decent pair of pants or a shirt or anything, it's just insane. And it just makes me think, how are people supposed to live? How can we afford anything if they're making clothing that expensive? Because I remember when I was in school, in elementary school, people would make fun of you if you were thrifting, and it would be seen as a negative thing. And at that time, it was really affordable to get clothes at the thrift store. But now it's just like a trend or whatever. And it's just incredibly difficult to find affordable everyday clothing. And I'm someone that works outdoors, and I go through clothing not very quickly, but sometimes something will need replacing because I have a very active outdoor job, and things rip and things like that. And when I need to go, I'm like, It's just crazy. I have to pay $24 for a pair of pants.
So now that you've seen the reality, let's be honest for a moment. This isn't just about rising costs anymore. It's about life choices being taken away. When people have to choose between a stable home or starting a family, something is fundamentally broken. Because these are not luxuries. These are basic parts of life. And yet, for so many people in Canada today, they feel out of reach. And the most concerning part? This isn't happening loudly. It's happening quietly, behind closed doors, in personal conversations, in delayed plans, in silent sacrifices. And over time, those silent decisions start to shape the future of an entire country. Lower birth rates, an aging population, economic pressure on the next generation. So the real question is, where does this go from here? And more importantly, what can people actually do about it? But before we even get there, I want to hear from you, because your experience matters more than statistics. Tell me in the comments, do you feel like life in Canada is becoming unaffordable? Are you seeing people around you delay having kids? Or struggling with housing and childcare? Or maybe you're going through this yourself right now. Share your story, because the more people speak up, the clearer the reality becomes. And if this video helped you see things differently, take a second to like the video. It helps more people discover this subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because I'm going to continue breaking down real issues like this without filters, without sugar coating. And one last thing, don't ignore these signs, because when problems like this grow quietly, they don't stay quiet forever. They eventually become impossible to ignore. Stay aware, stay informed. And I'll see you in the next video.